Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Ruins number 1 and number 2, published by Marvel Comics in 1995. This was kind of a weird, twisted sequel to Marvel's, the 4-issue miniseries that took the industry by storm the year previously. It was written by Kurt Busiek, painted by Alex Ross, kind of put Alex Ross's name on the map. Hugely successful. And this is when Marvel, their sales were just tanking. So Marvel cranked out a bunch of these other more like slick, high-end comics with painted art, thinking that it was Alex Ross's painted art solely that made the comic, sell. It was a big part of it. It's amazing art. But they cranked out a lot of badly painted comics. Guys who could paint but weren't necessarily even good at drawing. But these guys are pretty good, the guys who do this comic. And we'll get to that in a second. Also, they duplicate the gimmicky covers of Marvel's. And I'll show you that in a sec. So Marvel's was, the gimmicky cover was this. It's like an acetate cover. So it's without the logo. I don't know why they didn't put that on the acetate cover too, though. This really crappy Marvel Alternaverse logo. But this cover is by Cliff and Therese Nilsson. They do most of the art in this comic, and they're pretty good. So as you can see, we have this is the guy from Marvel's, Phil Sheldon. He's the main character of this as well, but it's an alternate reality. So we have, this is written by Warren Ellis, famous English writer. God, he did so many titles over the years, tons. And did so many women apparently too. He was a Cliff Nilsson, Therese Nilsson artist. I don't know how they break down the chores. I don't know if one of them pencils, one of them paints over it, or if it's all together. Who knows? So, this is basically like an Elseworlds tale for Marvel, And this is like if you took that Marvel's, the world of Marvel's, and instead of everything being kind of like great, in this reality, everything is wrong. Everything. It's almost a parody of itself, how grim and gritty and bleak this is. It almost gets to be ludicrous at a point. And laughable. Just every possible thing that could go wrong has gone wrong in this universe, considering, the superhero population since 1961. So here we see Phil Sheldon, like I said, the protagonist of Marvel's. He's a reporter / photographer for the Daily Bugle. And we start right off with the action. He's looking up into the sky, and the Avengers Quinjet is being blown up by a California National Guard missile. The geopolitical scheme of things is different in this reality too. It appears that America is a lot of states are trying to secede. There's martial law. There's lots of unrest, probably due to this whole, paranormal characters running around. So Phil Sheldon, the captions are all his thoughts. And basically he's wandering the country. He wants to write a book. Because he's got this feeling deep down in his gut that his reality is wrong. He belongs in that Marvel's world. He's like, these superheroes should have been like this glorious thing that would have helped mankind and made the world a better place. But that's not the way it is in this reality. Almost every paranormal character that has risen has we'll see they're either they're darker, they're evil, they're sordid, just kind of like our world, actually. So I guess in this reality, Tony Stark got together with some other heroes to make a revolutionary cell, the Avengers. And so that's why the military took him down. As you can see, this art is really nice. These guys are They know how to paint and they actually know how to draw, which is a nice combination. Just some amazing stuff here. It's really high quality work. So we see a little newspaper article about young Matt Murdock died in hospital from radiation burns and neural damage sustained after some radioactive shit fell out of a truck onto his face. So that's the kind of funny thing about this comic too, is that, we all thought about this when we were kids, even reading superhero comics. Yeah, all of these magical radioactive origin stories, using radiation. No, you would just die. You wouldn't get superpowers. You'd get cancer. Gamma radiation would probably just totally fuck you up. It wouldn't give you super strength. So he goes into this bar, this beautifully painted bar, and who should he meet in there but this Canadian guy named Logan. And in this reality, Wolverine is just a pathetic drunk, an angry, psychotic drunk. And the bartender informs us that he's got some kind of bone disease. And he shows him his hand. So I don't know what the hell happened in this reality, if his never got adamantium. And obviously doesn't have healing powers because he can get drunk. We see the Black Panther being carted off to jail with Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton, members of the Black Panther Party. We see Hawkeye getting shot in the head by a Californian military advisor. Tony Stark in South Central LA. And the Scarlet Witch turns state's evidence in return for immunity. So Sheldon's out in Nevada. He's visiting the Cree Reservation, which is basically a concentration camp for the surviving Cree soldiers who attacked Earth a while back. And it's in a nuclear test zone, so they're just all dying of cancer. This was like Earth's way of punishing them for daring to invade Earth. I don't know why they just don't kill them, but... So he has to put on a radiation suit just to go in. And he wants to interview the leader of the Kree, and it's Mar-Vell, who we knew as the first Captain Marvel. It's nice stuff. Well, not nice. It's gross. So Mar-Vell tells them how, when they came out of deep space teleportation right near Earth, they were totally confident they were going to conquer Earth. But then they saw this silvered humanoid, this corpse twisting above the Earth. Of course, it's the Silver Surfer. And apparently he clawed open his own chest to expose his lungs to the atmosphere. I guess he got tired of, he wanted to know what it was like to breathe air again. So unfortunately, his corpse is giving off some weird cosmic rays, which fuck their cloaking systems up. So Earth sees them before they can attack. And all the nations of the Earth unleashed their nuclear arsenals on the Kree and killed most of them. The ones who survived, who escaped in shuttle ships, were put on this reservation. So we see these little news articles. Apparently the president is Charles Xavier. We see the angel pushing his wheelchair. So now he's in Washington, D.C., and he hooks up with Nick Fury. And Nick Fury is not the Nick Fury we know. Nick Fury, of course, knows everything that Phil Sheldon's up to, but he doesn't realize he's writing a book about this stuff. And when Sheldon tells him, he punches him in the stomach. And Sheldon assures him, he's like, it's not a political book. I just want to write about the different ones, the paranormals. I contacted you because you knew Captain America. And Nick Fury says, I ain't seen America in a long, long time. Nick Fury kind of sums up Sheldon's thoughts. He says, you ever get the feeling it's all gone wrong, Sheldon? Like maybe all this weird, sick stuff that happens should really be something wonderful? Very Kent Williams-y, this art. Nick Fury even tells him that he's a cannibal now? And then Jean Grey pops up out of nowhere. She's a prostitute. She says, hey, you guys want a good time? And Nick Fury shoots her dead. And he continues to rant. You gotta be a mutant to survive what's coming. X knows, I tell you. And then Nick Fury says, I gotta take a nap now. Puts the gun under his chin and blows his own head off. We see a headline here of Galactus dead. God found dead in space. He's orbiting Mars. I like this up here. Porn star Enchantress. Did she kill producer with magic? So not only is everything like dark and gritty in this, it's just sordid. It's just it's almost like like I said, it's a parody of itself. It's kind of funny after a while, just how everything is corrupted and bad in this universe. So he's in Chicago. He goes to visit Rick Jones. And Rick Jones is this total shitty, strung out junkie living with his junkie girlfriend. And he's just a total scumbag. So Phil Sheldon wants to ask him about the Bruce Banner incident. So just like in the Marvel Universe, it kind of starts off the same. Rick Jones is in the desert. Bruce Banner rides out there to warn him, shoves him into this ditch, and he gets hit by the gamma bomb. But in this reality, he didn't become, the jolly green giant. He basically became this tumorous, disgusting nightmare creature who this is just amazing, this page had some crazy good stuff. The tumors broke him open, Rick Jones says. See, that's what would really happen this would really happen, but yeah, gamma radiation wouldn't be a good thing. So Phil Sheldon's, I guess, heard enough, and as he's leaving, Rick Jones just starts beating up his girlfriend, slapping her around. And then this is where, I realized, this is like a fucking fever dream, this comic. I don't even know if Warren Ellis meant it to seem this way, but it does. So he walks outside, and the first thing that happens, he trips over the corpse of the Punisher. He's got bullet holes in his chest. Nobody's around. He didn't hear any ruckus. I mean, even in this crazy world, I think if the Punisher was shot, there'd be some kind of commotion going on. I don't know. It just seems very highly unlikely that he happens to trip over the corpse of the Punisher as soon as he leaves this apartment. So that's what I mean. It's just it's becoming just a nightmare fever dream, It's just crazy. Is this really even happening? To give you a little tenor of the writing, this is how, grim and gritty it is. Death is everywhere. It's falling on us all. Let me find an answer before I go. Please don't let me die in this place. Man. They do the gimmick thing on the back, kind of. So let's go to number 2. Same artist. And we start here with a vision of the glorious, Marvel's world. But that's not where we're about to head. So Sheldon's on an airplane, just happens to be sitting next to Raven Darkholme, who you might know as Mystique, the villain from the X-Men. And she's kind of freaking out. She's clawing her. She's scratching at her own hands. I mean, look at this beautiful painted art. These guys are good. And then I guess in this reality, she took on too many personalities. You know, she's a shapeshifter, Mystique. And I guess she overdid her abilities. And so her whole, like, face just warped. Her brain basically imploded. This is so, like, Bernie Wrightson, like 80s Bernie Wrightson. That's some crazy good stuff. So at the airport, there's some like Men in Black type guys, you know, taking Mystique out of the plane. And they're kind of shoving people out of the way. And they shove this older guy. And Sheldon hears the sound of breaking glass and metal. And this old guy starts freaking out. It's Magneto. And apparently in this world, Magneto can't really control his powers. So he wears this makeshift magnetic dampener. But the Secret Service type guy, the Men in Black guy, he broke it when he shoved him aside. And so all of a sudden his powers, you know, kick in. And, you know, guns are flying out of hands. It looks like this guy had some, like, medical surgery with a, you know, like a metal knee or something, or a metal bone. Rips out of his leg. Sheldon's fillings fly out of his mouth, tearing some other teeth out in the process. And then this giant airplane gets, you know, magnetically attracted to Magneto and crushes him. Wah, wah, wah. That should be the name of this universe in Marvel. You know, there's like Earth 616. This should be Earth wah, wah, wah. So now he's in Texas. He's visiting this jail for mutants. They lock up all the mutants in here. Even though they don't say his name, it appears to be Wilson Fisk. It appears that he's the warden of this prison, showing Sheldon around. We see Scott Summers here. They had to gouge his eyes out to get his eye beams under control. I guess he killed his whole family with his eye beams. And as they walk away, Scott says, "Is the president here? Here?" And Wilson Fisk just slams him on the hand with his nightstick. Kitty Pryde, I guess, she tried to escape, and she got solid again, right in the middle of a cell door. Lost 3 feet of intestines. We see Nightcrawler here chewing his own tail. I don't know why he's doing that. And Sheldon asks Wilson Fisk, he says, "Why did he ask about the president?" And he says that President X comes down here to visit sometimes. Sometimes he just sits here in the chair and stares at him, kind of sad. Other times, he says things to him and leaves him all sobbing and throwing up. We see Quicksilver with his arms and legs chopped off. He's just twitching. Man, some nasty business. And then he's outside. It seems like the only time he's in a nice place. It actually doesn't seem post-apocalyptic here. He's sitting by a nice pond in his green grass. I don't even understand the scene. I think it might be a dream. Because this cute little girl comes up, gives him a flower, and he hugs her. And she says, "We're having a picnic. Would you like to have sandwiches with me and my mommy?" And then there's no really other reference to this in the comics, so I don't quite get these 2 pages. We see some more notes for Sheldon's book. He goes to visit Dr. Donald Blake, who's been operating the cult of Thor, who he channels. Basically, he just sounds like a nut who likes to take agaric mushrooms And apparently those are the mushrooms that Vikings used to use to send them into berserker rages. Like this up there, he's just ranting on this mattress, holding up a normal hammer, like a Ace Hardware hammer. We see the White Queen here, and she's got her own little like crazy cult going, where she legally adopts the children of acolyte parents, her followers, and then makes them undergo surgery to bring out psychic abilities. All these kids have horrible scars in their forehead. It's unrelenting. Oh man, this sucks here. So I guess the Nelsons couldn't finish this comic. So they got Christopher Mueller to finish this comic. And I've seen this guy's work before. Sometimes he does pretty good stuff. This is some of the worst stuff by him I've ever seen. Even if it was pretty good, it's so jarring from that beautifully painted art to this. I mean, this just looks like, I don't know, just bad, advertising art or something. This is not very good. And it's just not even trying to be consistent. It's pretty jarring. Now he's out in the desert at some weird carnivals. And we see Johnny Blaze. But Johnny Blaze does not have a demon in him. He just literally pours gasoline on his head for his stunts and lights his head on fire. So he finishes the stunt. And then Sheldon writes, for hours after the shot, he rode around the desert screaming, technically dead, facial fat flying off his torched head like hot rain, but still writing, screaming. That just doesn't even make sense. Warren Ellis is trying so hard to make everything bleak. So Phil Sheldon's kind of in a hurry. We see little glimpses from his narration that he's got it sounds like he's got an incurable disease. He keeps saying like, oh, I hope I can finish this book, I hope I have time. He's having a little dream here about the Marvel's world, the world he wishes his world was, where he talks about high fashion angels in the sky flying over humanity and protecting them. And good things happen every day. We see some more notes for his book. We see Sabretooth here, and Nomad, and Bucky Barnes. They're a bunch of cannibal, fascist militiamen somewhere in the Midwest. And then he goes to visit Ben Grimm. And Ben Grimm never became the thing in this reality. He lives all secluded in this little cabin in the middle of nowhere. And Ben Grimm tells him the story of basically the Fantastic Four's origin. But of course, it's different in here. And maybe this is the point of departure. Maybe, just this one little thing changed everything. Since that was the beginning of the Marvel Age, Fantastic Four #1. So just like in our reality, Reed Richards wanted to beat the Russians to the moon. So he wanted to steal this rocket ship. He asked Ben Grimm to fly it. But Ben looked at the specs of the ship and he says, this isn't going to work. You need lateral motors or we're all going to die. And Reed Richards wasn't listening. He didn't care. So he gets Victor Von Doom to fly the ship for him. And also he goes up with Sue and Johnny Storm. And of course, just like should have happened in reality, you don't get magical flame-on powers from going through cosmic rays. When Johnny Storm, when the ship crashes, he caught fire at a cellular level, burned from the bones outward. And Ben Grimm tells them that if they had those lateral motors I told them about, they might have been able to avoid the cosmic rays. Sue Storm is completely light reflective, so she was totally blind. So she stumbles over her burning brother. That's just like Three Stooges shit now. Like Warren Ellis, I think, I can't tell if Warren Ellis is just like snickering as he's writing this script. And I guess Victor Von Doom, he was the one who became the Thing. He went up animal and came down mineral with his internal organs on the outside. So now we're in New York City. Phil Sheldon is going to find some more paranormals. And he's going to go see Peter Parker. And in his captions, he talks very negatively about Peter Parker. And we finally see his hand close up. It looks like he's got this horrible, weird disease. He says, Parker, I always hated him. Weasley kid. Had to be Parker. Lousy photographer. So I guess when he got bit by the radioactive spider, he got infected with a raging mutant virus. Got infectious. He visited the Bugle offices before the rash showed. And we see him shaking Sheldon's hand. Contagious little weasel. And then all of a sudden, Sheldon feels pain in his chest. And he falls over dead. His briefcase falls open. And all of his photos fly into the sky. Oh man, that's like almost funny, this comic. It's so... I totally want to keep this because I love the art when it's by the Nilsons. But I gotta say, it's also kind of fun as hell. Like, I would actually love to read 50 issues of this. I'm just Warren Ellis, just cooking up the most bleak, depressing fates for all of Marvel's characters. It would be kind of fun. So there you go, guys. Ruins number 1 and 2. I don't think they're too expensive. I think these were in dollar bins for a while. They didn't sell that good. But I think they're kind of fun, and the art's fucking beautiful. So thanks for watching today's video, and also, I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.